Class of 2023, parents, friends, and distinguished guests, I would like to welcome you to graduation weekend. While this weekend will be filled with countless welcomes, we are also feeling the heavy weight of goodbye. However, if we think of UVA as our home, I'm not sure that we can ever truly say goodbye. Before we start this momentous weekend, I'd like us to reflect on everything that has happened here over our last 4 years, and also think about where we will be tomorrow morning. When we process down the lawn, we will have the opportunity to consider how UVA has served as a home for us throughout the years. The lawn is truly the center of our UVA home, and just as many homes have a front yard, the lawn has been that for the entire UVA community. When we start to walk down the steps of the rotunda, be it tomorrow morning for the college graduates or Sunday morning for the rest, we will be able to see the full expanse of the lawn in front of us. When you walk down those steps and down the lawn, I want you to think about the memories and communities you've made here. And as a side note, and I don't want to introduce a new fear, but also make sure to keep an eye on those steps, because I don't want to be responsible for anyone tripping down the stairs because of all this deep thinking. Remember the memories you've made in this space. Think all the way back to high school, or even earlier, when you first stepped foot on the lawn as your tour guide told you about class sizes, dining halls, and libraries. Later, we faced the rotunda during convocation and received that nickel that you hopefully all still have. But it was not the formal ceremonies that made the lawn our home. It was the warm days spent picnicking, studying with friends, meeting dogs, and dodging the occasional stray frisbee. It was the times when you avoided, or even maybe accepted, a flyer for a club on South Lawn, or you saw your friend unexpectedly in passing. And if the streakers have taught us anything, the lawn has been a place where people feel they can fully be themselves. Some of your favorite memories may be from rotunda sings, trick-or-treating on the lawn, or lighting of the lawn, and that's because the lawn has been a place where we've come together to gather as a community. While we've gathered here countless times, it has also been a place where we've come together to love and support each other during times of mourning. To me, this is how we describe a home. It's a place where we've been together with our loved ones, both in happy times and in times when we didn't know how we'd move forward. We've made this place a home for one another, and the amazing thing about building a home is that even though we will leave, we can always return. This weekend, we will be facing forward, surrounded by family and friends, and we will venture into the world knowing that we can always come home. Instead of focusing on the goodbyes of this weekend, imagine the joy that a welcome home will bring. That welcome home might be the next time you're back on grounds, but it might be when you see your UVA friends in a new city, yell wahoo wah at a stranger in an airport, or on the rare occasion that you pay in cash and get a nickel and change. Let us start this weekend full of joy and excitement for the future. We know we'll always have a home waiting for us on grounds, and our home will travel with us through our friends and memories, no matter how far we are from Charlottesville. Congratulations, Hoos. We've gotten this far, so let's start a weekend of celebrations.
Good afternoon. My name is Terrell Pittman. I am a third-year student, and I have had the pleasure of serving on the selection committee for the Algernon Sidney Sullivan Award this year. Each year, the Sullivan Award Committee selects 2 student recipients from the graduating class who best exemplify the highest qualities of character, humility, and unselfish service. The committee also selects an individual from the university community whose compassion, service, and influence are widely acknowledged and appreciated. All of the recipients of this award are wonderful people, but they are distinctly defined by their acts in support of others. Their deeds are not spent on their self-interest, but rather in the interest of the community. They represent our highest ideals and our greatest hopes. Please hold your applause as I read a few words about each of our recipients. Aaliyah White. Aaliyah White has made a mark on UVA in ways that will have a lasting impact on the university and those who walk our grounds. If you have attended the memorial service for Deshaun Perry, Lavelle Davis Jr., and Devin Chandler, you saw the design work of this architecture major. Aaliyah worked with other students to create temporary monuments that were displayed here outside JPJ where those attending could pay their respects. If you have visited the Memorial to Enslaved Laborers website, then you have experienced Aaliyah's work to share the story and beauty of that space. Aaliyah was so moved by what she learned on a tour, led by Professor Lewis Nelson, that she worked with him to create an online version of the tour, with his recorded remarks, a map of the various tour stops, and photos of the site for remote visitors. Aaliyah's work and research on these and other resources continue to educate readers on Black history at UVA. Her contributions to fairly and accurately narrating our past have been essential to building our future. Known for her strong heart and quiet strength, Aaliyah has been described as a communitarian and servant leader who wishes to bring about social change. She understands that her work may not always be met with open arms, yet time after time challenges what the comfortable standard is for many. Aaliyah is the personification of being both great and good. When she leaves UVA, that's what she will continue to be wherever she goes. Jaden Bowden, respectable, generous, authentic, humble, intentional. These are just a few of the words that others use to describe Jaden Bowden. Jaden is being recognized as a selfless leader who always pursues what is best for his community. He has a strong voice for those who are often overlooked or ignored, particularly young people on the margins of society. He wants to see change, so he becomes it. He wants to see a positive impact, so he makes it. Jaden's contributions to UVA are many and reach beyond our grounds. He fosters respect between others through his involvement in UVA's Resilient Student course. He generously gives his time and his heart to Star Hill Pathways and his fraternity, Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. He stays true to who he is and what he values, whether he is volunteering at Clark Elementary School or mentoring a peer. Jaden invests in the people around him because he believes it will have a ripple effect. He believes in the transformative power of education, and when he is not making an impact at an organizational or institutional level, he does so in every interaction with others he meets along the way. Jaden is driven by a strong and purposeful desire to serve youth. Many of the contributions he has made while at UVA provide inspiration and expand possibilities for others, especially young people. He wants to educate and instill strong values in the next generation, and he has created programs that will go on after he leaves UVA and continues this work. Lisa Spidell. Lisa Spidell is an educator, an advocate, and a mentor. Her 27-year teaching career at UVA has been solidly grounded in making a connection with each of her students and empowering them to create change. Professor Spidell has taught in the Education School and the Department of Women and Gender Studies. Students who have taken her class describe her as inspiring, welcoming, challenging, authentic, caring, and supporting of students in and outside of the classroom. She is particularly known for a self-defense course that she co-developed and has taught for 20 years. Professor Spidell's classes are continuously in high demand and teach content that can only be addressed by the most brave and motivated. She is a master at understanding her audience, with colleagues applauding her ability to transform students from reticent and timid to warriors. One former student noted that, as a future educator, they had learned so much beyond the content of the course just by watching Lisa Spidell practice the art of teaching. Students have shared unique and personal stories of Professor Spidell helping them with their taxes, reaching out when she became aware of a private struggle, making them believe that they belonged here, celebrating accomplishments, and encouraging them to make a change. She is beloved for the joy she brings to others, not just as a happy person, but a fulfilled person. She wants to make the world a better place and genuinely enjoys helping others find their happiness. Please join me in congratulating Aaliyah White, Jaden Bowden, and Lisa Spidell, this year's recipients of the Algernon Sydney Sullivan Award. Could y'all please calm down, please?
Good afternoon. My name is Maddie Martin, and I have the privilege of standing before you today to present the Seven Society Awards. The Lewis A. Honesty Award is given each year to a scholar athlete who, during their time at the university, dedicated themselves not only to the betterment of themselves and their team, but to the well-being and empowerment of communities across grounds. This year, it is the Seven Society's honor to recognize Ms. Lexi Cuomo, an individual who has shown an unparalleled devotion to the University of Virginia's athletic department, as well as the numerous spaces and communities of which she has been a part over the last 4 years. During her time at the university, Ms. Cuomo was an integral member of the women's swim and dive team and served as an extraordinary teammate, friend, and leader. A 2-time NCAA champion and 14-time All-American swimmer, Ms. Cuomo served as a team captain in her final season on the team, leading to their 3rd consecutive NCAA Division I national championship this March. Woo. Whether holding down the fort with her record-breaking relay splits or wickedly fast showings in individual races, Ms. Cuomo has consistently shown up for her team. At practices and meets, Ms. Cuomo demonstrates a sheer level of diligence and discipline that is rare to encounter. Yet it is her passion, humility, and an unbridled respect she holds for her teammates, coaches, and mentors that make her the inimitable athlete, team member, and leader that she is. Beyond her remarkable athletic achievements on the team, Ms. Cuomo has excelled academically, pursuing a major in chemical engineering and ending the fall 2022 semester with a 4.0 GPA. She has achieved a balance that few are able to strike, dedicating countless hours to her course of study, but also to the betterment of the communities and spaces that she frequents. A smile and an expression of unadulterated excitement often greets those who find themselves lucky enough to cross paths with Ms. Cuomo. Simply put, she is a radiant soul and a brilliant role model. The Seven Society wholeheartedly finds Ms. Cuomo most deserving of this esteemed award. The athletics community and the broader UVA community will forever bear the mark of her bright spirit, boundless kindness, and unceasing commitment to excellence. She is not only an exceptional athlete, but an outstanding individual and scholar that has made a lasting impact at the university. The Seven Society looks forward to basking in the light that Ms. Cuomo will undoubtedly continue to shine on every path she treads in the future. Please join me in congratulating Lexi Cuomo.
Congratulations. That was beautiful. Today, the Seven Society has the privilege of celebrating a student organization that has dedicated itself to enriching the university community. Through their constant efforts to hold space for students to exist as their whole, complicated, and imperfect selves, Flux Poetry and Spoken Word has risen to that challenge time and time again. Upon entering any Flux event, you are immediately embraced by the warmth and strength of the community that they have taken great care in constructing. Founded with the mission of giving students a place to express themselves, their thoughts, their joys, their struggles, Flux uses the art of poetry to forge connections between all those who share their space. Though an open mic night might seem like a straightforward concept, Flux has the power to transform a regular Thursday night into a space of celebration, healing, and community. Whether you have written 100 poems or are picking up the pen for the first time, whether you know their call and responses by heart or learn them as you go along, they treat you like a valued and essential member of their poetic family. The outpouring of support that every person who graces their stage receives is unparalleled, and the energy that they convey is infectious. Just by sitting in the audience, you feel called to consider your story, your voice, and your power. There is a deep sense of trust, vulnerability, and care that runs through all that Flux does, providing students with a necessary outlet for the perspectives and narratives that too often get overlooked on grounds. As storytellers, members of Flux recognize and embody the transformative power of narratives, expression, and imagination.
The university is a dynamic, ever-changing space that relies on the courageous work that these poets do to not only understand the student experience, but to shape and fundamentally better it. Whether they recognize it or not, every student has benefited from the passion, empathy, and generosity that Flux brings to the university community. The Seven Society deeply admires these storytellers and eagerly awaits the continued flourishing of their individual stories, both on grounds and beyond. Please join me in congratulating Flux Poetry.
Hello, friends, students, and colleagues. It's my distinct honor to present this award today to Sarah Dorn. I've worked with Sarah for over 20 years, have seen her raise 3 children, assist with 7.5 grandchildren, yes, the 8th one is on its way, and passionately advocate for and support our students in this university we hold so dear. Sarah has always been there for me in the tough times, providing sound guidance as a colleague and as a trusted friend. So in advance, I would ask for your indulgence if I get a little emotional in the next 3 minutes. Dear Sarah, the Society of the Purple Shadows seeks to recognize those exceptional individuals who serve our shared community without thought of recognition or reward. In this spirit, the Society and I are proud to present the 2023 Gordon F. Rainey Jr. Award for Vigilance to the Student Experience. To you, Sarah B. Dorn. In over 2 decades at the university, you have worked relentlessly to secure equal opportunity and success for every student, and you have done so with purpose and care. From the most complicated tasks to the smallest minutiae, your steadfast commitment to the work of student financial services has played a pivotal role in holding the university to its core values of service and equity. It is no coincidence that the number of first-generation students attending this university has risen by 18% in the past decade. Your work has been integral to ensuring that each of these individuals is empowered to excel on grounds. When the pandemic necessitated virtual learning, you worked across departments and divisions to guarantee that federal funding reached the most vulnerable students, workers, and families. Moreover, in 2021, you partnered with student advocates to implement a critical grant program to fulfill the insurance needs of our students, demonstrating an extraordinary capacity for care and respect to your student partners in the process. Through it all, you have displayed indelible kindness, grace, and empathy. Yet, your contributions are hardly limited to those previously listed. Your work to launch the Who Needs Help initiative has supported students in novel and unexpected ways. In a period of great difficulty, this program facilitated support for the students most severely affected by the tragedy of November 13, 2022. When payments to graduate students were interrupted earlier this year, you were among the first to react, working to troubleshoot the immediate crisis, but also looking ahead to more enduring solutions. Your responsiveness and great attention to detail exhibits genuine care for those in this community. A colleague of yours once said, in ways large and small, and almost always far from the limelight, Sarah has worked tirelessly to help students find their way. And she's done so with great intelligence, compassion, and good humor. The magnitude of your impact, by all measures, speaks volumes about your character, and today, the Society is thrilled to celebrate your service to the community. For you, Sarah, are one the university is proud to call her own. Thank you.
Good afternoon, UVA class of 2023. It is my honor to stand before you all today as your class vice president, a position that has allowed me to witness firsthand the incredible resilience and strength of our class. As we gather this weekend to celebrate the culmination of 4 years of hard work, dedication, and perseverance, I invite you to take a moment and reflect on the profound impact that our UVA journey has had on shaping us into the individuals we are today. When reflecting on our class experience, I frequently think that our class has been dealt a really difficult hand. We made the decision to come to UVA just 1 year after the events of August 11th and 12th, when Charlottesville and our very grounds were shaken by hate and violence. In our first year, many of us arrived with idealistic expectations, uncertain of what the future would hold, but eager for this new chapter. My first semester here, like many of you, was one of the most difficult times of my life. It was a time marked by immense imposter syndrome as we each struggled to feel like we belonged here. In that second semester, I finally began to feel like we were all gaining our ground. We were joining clubs, we were meeting new people, we were doing better in classes, and we were finally beginning to call this place home. And right when it began to feel like we were UVA, it was ripped out from under us. Suddenly, we were back in our parents' homes, hiding in our rooms for Zoom calls with our friends. And while those events may have left us shaken and uncertain, they also brought us together in a way that few other things could. After that, we spent the next 2 years looking to recreate the magic of UVA with no blueprint. Our class is actually the last class to have experienced a pre-COVID UVA, and we have seen this place change right before our very eyes during our time here. And in different ways, we each also got to be a decisive part of that change, deciding what direction we wanted our community to go in. And while this was no easy feat by any means, we found new ways to make our mark on this community. We started new traditions and continued old ones. We organized and we advocated for change. And we supported each other through the ups and downs of this incredible journey. We showed immense resilience and adaptability. Come our 4th year, UVA finally felt normal again as our grounds buzzed with that familiar energy. It seemed that in the blink of an eye, we had gone from being these naive first years who were adjusting to UVA lingo and mumbling the lyrics to the good old song to seasoned 4th years, who in many ways had become the custodians of UVA traditions, passing down our knowledge to a new generation of students who met us with wide-eyed wonder. We had grown not only in knowledge and academics, but also in maturity and perspective. Unfortunately, it wasn't long before our strength as a class was challenged again. When tragedy struck our community in November, we found ourselves grappling with grief and struggling to make sense of an unimaginable tragedy. With the loss of Devin Chandler, Lavelle Davis Jr., and our very own fourth-year classmate, Deshaun Perry, the once vibrant atmosphere on our grounds had seemed to dim. But even amidst the sorrow, our class, bound together by shared experiences and unwavering support, rallied around those most affected. We offered solace, and we also stood together with the community, showing the strength of our collective spirit and also our character. Together, we began this process of healing, knowing that it was going to take time, but also knowing that the entire community would come out stronger than ever before as we continue to celebrate in the light of our three classmates. Our class has undeniably been through a lot, but my hope for you today is not that the hurdles that we face along the way will serve as lessons to be learned from, but also that they serve as proof of your strength. And I hope that you will always find light and always find community, even in the most difficult of times. As we approach this new chapter, I want to remind you all to treat yourselves with grace. Tragedies and crises have caused us to lose nearly 2 years of our college experience, and with that, we must give ourselves the time to still develop. As UVA students, we are always so desperate for that one right answer of how we should be living our lives, and for so long, those answers were clear. What's next is not an identical nor linear path which we can all follow, but it is something uncertain, something unique, something human, and something beautiful. The beauty of your early 20s is that you are allowed to live in that uncertainty. And today, I challenge you to draw on the lessons we have learned throughout our UVA journey to welcome that uncomfortable feeling as you embark on your journey, knowing that you have the strength to weather whatever comes your way. Thank you, and good luck, class of 2023.
Hello, my name is Caroline Abel, and it's my pleasure to present the following awards. Each year, the trustees of the graduating class bestow 3 awards upon students of their class who have contributed significantly to the university. These awards include the Award for Community Service, the Award for Cultural Fluency, and this year, the Good Cheer on Grounds Award. Established in 1993, the Trustees Community Service Award honors a graduating student who has eagerly supported the university and Charlottesville communities. Recipients exemplify the true ideal of service, a commitment to helping others with no expectation of material reward, inspiring their peers to do the same. We are very proud to give this award to Jordan Taliaferro. As outgoing president of the Kappa Rho chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, Jordan has coordinated a host of meaningful community service projects. In particular, she orchestrated a continual partnership with the local youth program, City of Promise, to tutor and empower high school students. Jordan recently organized a hair care drive where she focused on curating donations that cater towards multicultural and Black hair care. She also helped coordinate the 10th annual Hoop Dreams tournament that donated over $3,000 to Habitat for Humanity and the Boys and Girls Club of Central Virginia. Jordan hopes to continue engaging in academia to help amplify the voices of underrepresented communities. It is evident that in all aspects of her extracurricular and academic life at UVA, Jordan has thoughtfully and impactfully served the community. Jordan's nominator writes that in all of her efforts, Jordan makes sure to do service based on what the community asks for, instead of assuming what the community needs. She has put her heart into even the smallest of tasks. Congratulations, Jordan. Please join me in recognizing Jordan Taliaferro. Established in 1996, the Trustees Cultural Fluency Award recognizes a graduating student who understands the importance of cultural and intellectual diversity. Recipients look beyond their immediate bubble to promote connections with members of different cultures and identities. We are very proud to give this award to Hannah Soliman. Hannah was repeatedly praised by their peers for showing perseverance and intentionality in fostering cultural safe spaces. In their third year, Hannah was the program's intern for the LGBTQ Center and continued into fourth year as the current education intern. Hannah's supervisor in these roles writes that they have cultivated meaningful relationships with many students. They know that they can reach out to Hannah if they want to get connected to community. Another writes that Hannah has made the LGBTQ Center a safe, inclusive space for individuals from all different backgrounds and identities. Hannah plans and facilitates intersectional workshops, leads the queer, trans, Black, Indigenous people of color affinity group, and collaborates with other CIOs on grounds, including the Indian Student Association, UVA Sustainability, and the National Alliance for Mental Illness. As a Madison House volunteer, Hannah has connected with the greater Charlottesville community by serving as a helpline operator. Academically, Hannah is a global public health and African American studies major committed to learning about how public health can liberate racial and ethnic minorities. They continue this mission as a peer health educator for the Office of Health Promotion, sex health educator for the UVA chapter of Planned Parenthood Generation Action, and education intern for Who's for Inclusive Sexual Education. Ultimately, one nominator writes that Hannah has never stopped being kind, warm, and welcoming to their colleagues and peers. Hannah does not only practice cultural fluency, they embody it. Please join me in recognizing Hannah Soliman. Unique to our class, the Trustees' Good Cheer on Grounds Awards honors a graduating student who has used their time at UVA to facilitate community and belonging. Whether through great acts or small, nominated students have played a vital role in getting others excited to be part of the UVA community. We are very proud to give this award to Molly Sander. Since her first day at UVA, Molly has ensured that her peers feel included. One nominator writes that her warm smile and loving energy instantly quelled my nervous first-year energy and made me feel welcome at this new place. Ever since, her bright and optimistic demeanor has tethered our class together. Molly organizes weekly Bodo's lunches that bring enough students together to occupy multiple tables, incorporating her friends from countless groups and majors around grounds. She models what it means to be excited about including a diverse network of people into her circle of friendship, pulling from all corners of grounds. Molly has impacted her communities, whether through Best Buddies, the engineering sorority Alpha Omega Epsilon, club running, or the now iconic basketball fan group, the Vandergals. Molly was also acknowledged for planning a just because gift for one of her friends, including flowers and chocolates. Her friends all shared the same sentiment, that knowing Molly makes them feel valued and cared for, and they take pride in knowing such a thoughtful individual. On behalf of the class, thank you and congrats, Molly. Please join me in recognizing Molly Sander.
Good afternoon. My name is Ethan Fingerhut.
And I am Hannah Herzog, and we are the co-chairs of the 2023 Class Giving Campaign. Look back, pay it forward.
Before we delve into what these 5 words mean to us, we want to recognize those who helped make our campaign so successful.
To our committee, Tate Snyder, Brian Walsack, Alex Vogel, Tara Leiden, Alex Stengel, Jared Mert, Margaret Bichek, Kalia Purvis, and Nicole Esteban. We are beyond grateful for your presence and energy this year, and we thank you for your creativity and dedication to the campaign.
To our advisors, Mary Elizabeth Luzar and Catalina Wilkins, Class Giving would not have been possible without your support and experience, and we greatly appreciate your advice in helping us to accomplish our goals.
To the University Bookstore, thank you for your assistance during Cap and Gown Week. We appreciate your effort and dedication. And to the rest of trustees, thank you for offering your time and ideas. We would not have been able to do this without your support.
This year, Hannah and I continued the tradition of creating a theme for the Class Giving campaign. Back in August, we chose the slogan, "Look back, pay it forward," which evoked the combination of excitement and nervousness we felt at the onset of our 4th and final year on grounds.
This theme represents the importance of showing gratitude toward areas of the university that shaped our time here, while also giving back to the communities that made our experience impactful. To us, looking back and paying it forward means acknowledging and enhancing that meaningful experience to future classes of Wahoos.
The annual class gift allows graduating students to donate directly to any scholarship, school, department, volunteer organization, performance group, club sports team, CIO, or pretty much anywhere you could think of on grounds.
Each donation represents a nod of gratitude, or in some cases, a change we want to see in the university and a step toward making that progress. By allowing you all to choose where your gift goes, we hope that you will remain a proud and connected Who for years to come.
We are pleased to announce that this year, more than 45% of the class of 2023 participated in Class Giving.
These 2011 students donated to over 350 different allocations across grounds. On behalf of the university, we are grateful for your generosity and interest in improving the communities on grounds we all cherish.
Your dedication to leaving UVA a better place than when we arrived will make a lasting impact. Here's to continuing to build a vibrant and empowered community for years to come.
President Jim Ryan, on behalf of the class of 2023, we are honored to present this check for $86,265.
Congratulations and thank you, class of 2023.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Ethan and Hannah. Thank you, trustees, and thank you to the members of the class of 2023. The tradition of giving a class gift started at UVA in 1983, which was the first year of the 4th year class trustees. As far as I can tell, this makes this tradition one of the few things that was cool in 1983 that is still cool today. As you just heard, this gift will go to support the areas of the university and the causes that those who gave donations have identified. And there are a lot of them, including schools and departments across grounds, the University Library, Madison House, the Office of African American Affairs, the Women's Center, the UVA Strong Fund, the Fralin Museum of Art, the Cavalier Marching Band, hundreds of student organizations, sorority and fraternity foundations, the Virginia Athletics Foundation, financial aid, and last but not least, a fund to keep the A in UVA. I'd have to say, thank you for that. I have to say I'm also incredibly grateful that more than 2,000 students from your class participated in this campaign, which I'm delighted to say sets a new record for participation. As you all know, this has not been an easy year given the tragedy in November, and it's not been an easy 4 years given COVID. But you all came together as a community, and our community is stronger because of it. The fact that more students than ever before participated in this campaign is one small but important sign of your commitment to this community, and I thank you for that. And I believe you all deserve another round of applause. All of you in the class of 2023 have benefited from the generosity of those who came before you, and it's heartwarming to see so many of you giving back already. It's one of the best things you can do to make sure that future generations of UVA students will have the same opportunities that you had, if not more. So thank you again for the gift. I'm looking forward to seeing all of you again either tomorrow or Sunday. If you're wondering, I'll probably get to the corner at around 7 a.m. tomorrow. I am kidding. I will be on the lawn by 9 sharp, and I'm looking forward to seeing all of you there. Thank you again.
Good afternoon. My name is Mason Marche, and I serve as the graduation chair for the class of 2023 trustees. I know you've already heard it countless times, but I wanted to also express my congratulations to our accomplished class. It's been an absolute pleasure to share my time with you all here on grounds, and I cannot wait to continue building bonds into our alumni years. No matter what you do after this weekend, this place has instilled in us a passion for making a difference that is ultimately why I'm so excited to introduce you to our keynote speaker. Since graduating from UVA's College of Arts and Sciences, Jacqueline Novogratz has spent her time finding a way to create a better tomorrow for people all across the world. She quit her job on Wall Street, moved to Rwanda to co-found the nation's first microfinance institution, and in 2001, she founded Acumen, a global organization focused on solving problems of poverty and building a world of dignity. Acumen prides itself on its dedication to patient capital, an investment model that prioritizes philanthropy and long-term benefits over immediate financial returns. To date, Acumen has supplied more than $145 million to improve the lives of individuals across the globe. Ms. Novogratz's work specifically focuses on providing opportunities to empower people to shape their own futures. By expanding her firm's definition of worthwhile investment, she has been able to increase access to healthcare, champion clean energy initiatives, and promote women's rights in regions including South America, Western Africa, and the Indian subcontinent, to name a few. Outside of the office, she's a runner, a New York Times bestselling author through her book, The Blue Sweater, and a lover of poetry. She's a frequent and accomplished traveler, having posted on Instagram from Kenya, New York, Los Angeles, Vancouver, London, and Spain in the last few months alone. Above all else, though, she's a member of our own community. She's cherished our wins, she's mourned our losses, and she's shared in the joy that is having worn the honors of honor. Ms. Novogratz's relentless empathy is definitive proof that changing the world is challenging, but is also remarkably fulfilling. She focused her worldview on the mantra, "Love is power," and followed her instincts towards a dream for greater equity. We wrote in our letter to her that we were inspired not only by her passion to aid others, but for restoring dignity. And in hearing her speak, I hope you'll feel the same way. Class of 2023, please join me in welcoming Ms. Jacqueline Novogratz.
Thank you, Mason. That was a beautiful, beautiful introduction, and congratulations to the awardees. I can't tell you how excited I am to be here with all of you, President Ryan, beloved family members, treasured friends, and absolutely the extraordinary class of 2023. Lara, you said it so beautifully. You all have earned this place, and you've worked hard for it. I actually graduated in 1983, so President Ryan, I am definitely not cool. But I'm here, and it is hard to believe that it was 40 years ago when tomorrow I would be sitting where you all will be sitting. I was excited and idealistic, and I had dreams in my head of changing the world, and I didn't have a clue how to start. Truth is, I wasn't a standout at UVA. I worked 2 jobs to put myself through school, mostly as a bartender. Back then, the drinking age was 18 for beer, a situation that my peers liked a lot. But it meant that I wasn't in a sorority or a political organization. I didn't play on a sports team. I worked, okay, and I danced, sometimes on tables, and I still dance a lot. And though I had an amazing circle of beloved friends, the truth is, on the inside, I felt like an outsider. I was seemingly confident, but I had a tender heart, as if there were a bull and a dove swirling inside of me. One side courageous, one side questioning. And I've learned that perhaps that sense of being an outsider also gave me superpowers. It gave me a sense of empathy, an understanding of how people who also feel on the outside may not fully understand systems that don't seem to work for them. And when I also reflect on my younger self, I'm grateful for my struggles in paying for school. I gained a deep sense within me that no matter what life threw at me, I could find a way through. Laura talked about some of the challenges you all have faced. I hope you find a reservoir of strength and that same sense that there's nothing now you can't do. What inspires me so much about your generation is that so many of you are not satisfied with the status quo and you want to do something about it. I'm guessing your goal is not simply to get out of UVA, earn a ton of money, and have a comfortable life. I'm guessing you want to do something that matters. What's more, every generation stands on all of the knowledge of every previous generation. That means you all are smarter, with more tools, more skills, more access, more connections to people across the world than I and my peers could have dreamed. And now is your time to tackle the problems that are uniquely of this moment. And it doesn't mean that my generation has to step back. I'm still pursuing dreams so big, I might never realize them in my lifetime. And I am still a pragmatic idealist. I've got lines on my face and hard edges that have been softened by tumbling along the hard, long road of change. But on most days, I am filled with a deep sense of joy, of meaning. I've gained a little bit of wisdom along the way, too. Mostly, I know change is possible because I have lived it. The kind of change I have seen usually starts with 1 or 2 people and a big dream, and then a lot of years of hard work that ends with them changing millions, and in some cases, hundreds of millions of lives. So let me share 3 lessons that have been drivers in my own life, in hopes that you will give yourself permission to believe in the power of your dreams and have the courage to do something about it. The first is just start. Trying to make a difference in the world isn't easy, yet so many people live provisionally. They think, I will start working on my purpose as soon as ... I go to business school, I make enough money, I get married, I raise my kids, I buy a house, and before you know it, 20, 30, 40 years pass, and people start wondering what happened and what would have happened had I dared to make a change a little easier. But just know that at every moment, every day in your life, you have a choice. If you see an opportunity to do something that could take you where you want to go, don't wait for the perfect. Take it. My first move coming out of UVA was to be a banker. Now, truth is, I didn't really want to be a banker, but this was a job that would take me to 40 countries in 3 years, and I really wanted to travel. But I found that this would be a way that I could learn to know and love the world. The income also came at a crucial moment, and what surprised me was that I gained incredible skills, tools, frameworks, not only that I loved, but that I still use in my work today. Chase Manhattan Bank took me to places like Brazil, where I would go on the weekends and see low-income people, totally vital, laboring in colorful, alive places, yet they couldn't get a loan. And so I thought to myself, I want to take these same tools and find ways to extend them to people who've been overlooked and underestimated and see what we could do. So I started looking for a different job, trying to get myself back to Brazil. But Brazil wasn't on offer. The only position I could find was in West Africa, which was not in my game plan. But I decided to go. The hardest part about leaving my job was telling my parents. My father thought I was giving up the career of a lifetime. My mother was sure I would never marry. And for me, I didn't want to let them down. But I knew that if I didn't make the move then, I might never make it. There is only one person who can live your life, and that is you. So just start. Lao Tzu wrote that the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. I took mine and fell flat on my face. I arrived in the Côte d'Ivoire full of enthusiasm with these new tools that were going to help solve big problems. And what I found is that most people don't want helping. They certainly don't want saving. I didn't understand the context and the people enough. People want to solve their own problems. I had to come to understand that real change is mutual change, and that you shouldn't go to serve unless you understand that my dignity is bound in yours, and vice versa. I also learned that if you rule out failure, you rule out success. Now, one thing about leaving everyone you love and giving away almost everything that you own is that it really raises the stakes of trying. I was not going to go home after a single failure. So I picked myself up, I moved to the other side of the continent, to Kenya, and I tried again. And I failed. This time, I was working with an organization that was in a messy situation, and I thought I would be an incredible support by analyzing the entire situation and presenting it to the executive director so that the organization could solve its own problems. The problem was that I didn't build trust. And I literally, whether I was right or not, watched my insights and my work go up in flames. This time I learned that trust is the rarest, the most precious, most valuable currency that we have. Failure is a powerful teacher. Therefore, Just Start has a crucial second part. Let the work teach you. When I finally landed in Rwanda, less than a year after I left New York City, I'd learned a new humility. I learned that people will tell you the truth if you show up, if you start by asking questions, if you learn to listen not from a place of trying to convince or to convert, but to be changed yourself. I understood that if we were going to build a Rwandan bank, the women of Rwanda would have to own and to manage it. Sure, I could be a co-founder, but this time we had to be a lot more important than I. And in a few years, our small but mighty group of 5 co-founders did start a bank. We called it Dutrembere, which means go forward with enthusiasm, and that's what we did. And I saw that a small group of people could change a corner of history. But my time in Rwanda also taught me that top-down aid, government programs too often creates dependency, which is the opposite of dignity or choice, agency. And maybe most important, that dignity is more important to the human spirit than wealth. Had I not taken that step to go to West Africa, I would not have known how to take a step to start Acumen, the nonprofit organization I started to invest in for-profit companies to solve big problems of poverty. And I'm still just starting. Each time building on the work that's gone before, sometimes falling, always getting up to try again. So just start and let the work teach you. Second, hold values in tension. Our desire for easy solutions does not match the complexity of our world today. My work investing in social enterprises has taught me that if we will only solve our toughest problems if we are willing to embrace nuance, a clarion call that is hard to hear above the din of our broken, fractured conversations. Let me give you an example. Capitalism. For it or against it? I've been working with the tools of capitalism for 40 years. I love it and I hate it. On the one hand, for-profit companies provide an incredible rapid feedback system to understand what customers want and value. On the other, too often corporations overlook, exploit the poor, and do not take into account the damage to the environment. 15 years ago, 1.5 billion people on the planet lacked access to electricity. A few social entrepreneurs decided to go where both markets and government had failed the poor, to learn what it would take to bring solar energy to people who hadn't really counted. Today, those companies have served hundreds of millions of people, and now we can actually imagine what it would take to electrify the world. But there are still 800 million people without electricity. Markets are not going to bring electricity to the last mile. The only way we will do it is in partnership with government and philanthropy and civil society. The only way we'll do these kinds of hard things is with all of us. So this is a moment to reimagine capitalism, not just fight between capitalism and socialism, to reimagine it. I've learned so much from investing in entrepreneurs that are tackling some of our biggest problems, like our broken food systems. They understand that too many of our smallholder farmers who produce the food we eat cannot afford to feed their own families. And now they're building companies that put the farmers in the center, or entrepreneurs that see our waste and are converting it into treasure, into golds, fertilizer and animal feed and vegan leather and whole new industries. That excites me. It is the moral imagination of these entrepreneurs that assure me of our collective capacity to reimagine a future that puts our shared humanity and the earth at the center of our systems, not just profit. I have learned that we can change the system because we are the system. Holding values in tension is a path to wisdom. You all live in a time of great uncertainty, where vicious debates are held on social media in hyperspeed. We can be quick to judgment, quick to find safety in people who think like us. Learning to hold the tensions has taught me how people who might see each other as adversaries can rally around solutions that tap into our better selves. But this takes the courage of seeing the humanity that lies in each of us. And this is very personal to me. A few years after I left Rwanda, I started to hear my friends talking about their mistrust for each other. Things were falling apart, and in 1994, the country erupted into a bloody genocide, killing more than 500,000 people in 100 days. I lost many friends in that period, and I decided I had to go back to the country to understand at a deeper level not only what had happened, but what does it mean to be human. Of my 5 co-founders, women played every conceivable role: victim, bystander, and yes, perpetrator. I remember visiting a prison to see Agnes, a co-founder and a parliamentarian who had been convicted for the highest crimes of genocide. We sat knee to knee, and I looked at her with this girl-like face, her head shaved, big eyes, freckles, a perfectly pink, pressed prison dress. And I thought, she doesn't look like a monster. And then it hit me. Monsters and angels live in all of us. Monsters are our broken parts. There are fears and insecurity, our shames, our petty grievances. And in times of instability, like today, it becomes easy for demagogues to prey on those broken parts, to cast blame on people who look unlike ourselves, to sometimes make those people seem less human, and in extremes, convince us to do terrible things. Our challenge in this time of inequality, all of us, our challenge in this time of social media that's toxic, us versus them politics, is to learn to suppress those monsters and set free our better angels. We must learn to balance our audacity with a new humility. We humans are too easily manipulated by fear and by cynicism. And the great irony is that fear and cynicism are the best allies of the status quo. The fearful hide away. The cynics do not create the future. The role of moral leadership today is to counter fear and cynicism with calls to moral reasoning, with calls to a shared vision, with calls to love for each other and for our planet. And to do that, you have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. But the good news is this: when you feel that yourself in that place and you are alone and uncomfortable, stay there. Because I've come to see that that discomfort is a proxy for progress. So hard work, commitment, resilient, discomfort showing up not just for years, but sometimes for decades. That's what it takes to make real, sustained change. But before you run for the hills, there's something else. If you embark on the lifelong journey of change, I assure you, you will come across 2 glorious fellow travelers. Their names are Beauty and Hope. And my final entreaty, therefore, look for them, welcome them, embrace beauty, embrace hope. 10 days ago, I was visiting one of our companies on the shores of Lake Victoria in Western Kenya. There I met a grandmother named Rebecca. Petite and fierce, Rebecca raised her family as an agricultural farmer, and then her husband died too early. And one day she was looking at the lake and noticing that the men weren't going out far into the middle of the lake to hunt and hope that they could catch fish, sometimes bringing just a few or none home. that instead they were cultivating little fingerlings and growing them to big, ample fish that they could sell at local markets for protein and making good income. And while Rebecca had never fished in her life, she saw an opportunity to change her life, and so she took it. She became a fish farmer, unfortunately, before the technology was really perfected, and so she lost everything. And then the company Aquaretch came to the shores of the lake and offered her loans and training and fish feed, and so she tried again. This time, she grew her own business to 40,000 fish. And then climate change hit. An algae bloom wiped everything out again. So she went to her friends to see if she could borrow money, start again. I said, "Wait, Rebecca," as she was telling me this story. "You failed twice, and then you went back to your friends again." And she said, "This is what we do in Kenya. In difficult times, we help each other." I said, "Sure, I get that. But this is a third failure, Rebecca. This is not a woman of wealth." And she said, "Jacqueline, life gives you hard things. You have a choice. If you sit and do nothing, I promise life will just get worse. So you get up, you try, you decide to make life work." "You know," she said, "in Luo, my native language, we have a saying, chaka chaka, just begin, just start." Of course, I had no choice but to just hug her. Rebecca is rebuilding, and it's a complex story. She's grown her business now to 30,000 fish, and she has big aspirations, not really for herself, but for her community. "How can you be so alive?" I said, as she was speaking with so much enthusiasm. She said, "I love my life, my family, my children, my community. I want to serve. I love being a leader." I realized then that she has what so many of us yearn to have. She feels seen, a sense of belonging. She knows she's needed. As I listened to this wise woman speaking, I started to feel overwhelmed. I could see the light, or maybe the divinity in her, and in the connection with her, I could feel it in myself. In that connection was beauty and hope and the seeds of our mutual transformation. And I have found that same sense of beauty and hope in distant hamlets and in some of the meanest, cruelest neighborhoods in the world. Beauty and hope when people gather to double joys and celebrate and to hold each other in grief. I too have seen people find their deepest beauty themselves, sometimes in the darkest, most difficult times. When we dare to immerse ourselves in the world, serving, creating, trying, we might get a few bruises and scratches and lines, but so do we increase our chances of being fully alive and equally as important, wonderfully, beautifully, impossibly, wholly human. So I am inviting you today to hold to a dream that matters. It should be your dream, not mine. I started out fighting poverty and found out that what I really wanted to do was build dignity. Now I understand that I want to be fully used up before I die. You might dream of being a banker, an inventor, an engineer, an architect, an artist, a dancer, a rocket scientist, a designer, a social worker, a social entrepreneur. Whatever you decide, you're all needed. But don't think you need to have answers today. The world is too complex. What you can do is follow the thread of your curiosity. Hold to it through ups and through downs. And I promise you, if you do that long enough, before you know it, you'll find yourself coming home to your truest self. So start. Let the work teach you. Hold the tensions. Embrace hope. Know there is beauty all along the way. Just promise me that you don't forget to dance. I wish the class of 2023 all good things, huge congratulations, and an amazing graduation this weekend. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jacqueline Novogratz, for your remarks. Class of 2023, family, friends, and distinguished guests, I know you're tempted to walk out. I see you. This is a long ceremony, and your dinner reservations are coming up, but help me save face in front of my parents by sitting just another 10 minutes. If you were willing to stand in the Sunday morning Bodo's line, anytime during these past 4 years, you can sit in an air-conditioned arena, right? I don't claim to be wise, and I don't know much about what's going to happen moving forward. Having once put gasoline in a plastic Solo cup to start a campfire, my friends, the melted Solo cup, and my singed eyebrows could definitely tell you I don't give the best advice. Still, there are 3 things UVA taught me that you should do when we start real life: procrastinate, say no, and embrace the mess. First, UVA taught me to procrastinate. A wise friend once told me that if you do something at the last minute, it only takes a minute to do. My roommates know that the best time to ask me for a favor is before one of my deadlines, because I'll drive anywhere and clean anything to put something off. You might be able to tell that I wrote the speech just a few days ago. The morning I started writing this, I knew I was already the last person out of everyone here to submit a draft. Still, it was beach week, and I was determined to spend time with my friends. I spent an unnecessary amount of time kayaking, playing card games, watching reality TV shows on Netflix. All this time, I was complaining to my friends that I had to write the speech, but clearly not helping myself by being off task. To speed up the process, my friends helped me revise the speech, so it's their fault if it's bad. I didn't learn anything profound writing this, but I spent time doing what mattered most to me. This speech, and weekend as a whole, will be a blip in time compared to the friendships I've made and hope to keep from UVA. A little writing delay didn't hurt me, and actually helped show that procrastination is not about the work. It's about everything you do before you start the work. Because the more you spend time getting to know the people who surround you, the more enjoyable the task at hand will be. Don't brush off the new relationships you'll make when you leave, and don't forget to give your old friendships a call to check in. Procrastination highlights what really matters, so procrastinate with intention. Second, UVA taught me to say no to everything. During our time here, we said no to sleep, no to going to class, and no to deadlines. Having had the honor of honors to be pulled over 5 times as a student, I clearly said no to the speed limit. Just last week, a friend and I were headed home after a good night of celebrating the end of finals. She wanted to walk, but I spotted a VO. Now, for the parents who don't know what VOs are these electric scooters dropped all around town for us to ride, speeding down University Avenue at 20 miles per hour without a helmet, bad Northern Virginia drivers swerving around us. My friend had never ridden a VO, so I said, just ride behind me. VOs are commonly known to hold 2 sorority girls at a time headed to 14th Street, or 3 first-years headed to Gooch Dillard. My friend said, no, I don't think they're made for more than 1 person. They're definitely not. I said, but we'll get home faster and it'll be fun. She said, what if I fall? You won't fall. I finally convinced her to ride with me. We started off okay, wobbling slowly, her holding on behind me for dear life. Suddenly I stopped because we were moving as slow as UVA Wi-Fi. She panicked and stepped off wrong, and I heard a pop. She twisted her ankle. If only she had kept saying no and not given in to peer pressure, she would still have 2 working ankles. Saying no allows us to set our boundaries and figure out what we want. After this weekend, we'll be more free than we've ever been before. We can decide when to say no and when to say yes. If you don't love your job, I hope you have the resources to say no and quit it. If your friends drain you, say no and find new ones. Realizing you don't like something is just as empowering as realizing you do. If your friends don't respect your choices, they don't deserve you. Third, UVA taught me to embrace the mess. Messy could be my room with everything everywhere all at once, the white spot counter at 12 a.m., or even the girl crying to her friends in the Trinity Irish pub bathroom. A few weeks ago, a friend of mine hosted an end-of-semester party in his room. He had a final paper due before his party, but it was not done, see, call back to the first lesson. Nevertheless, he persisted. He set up the speakers and drinks and sat down in the corner to write. His friends started streaming in, causing some ugly love triangle drama. Several of them streaked the lawn and tripped. There might have been some vomit. After my friend submitted his paper 3 hours late, he talked them through their drama, patched up their wounds, and cleaned up the damage. Even though he had to drive many people home from his own party, he had a blast, and his friends obviously did too. Embracing the mess is not a bad trait. It's an art to be perfected. When we came to UVA, the world was messy and chaotic. The pandemic, global warming, political instability. I'm not here to tell you it's going to get any better. It'll probably get worse. No one has ever called me an optimist. Still, in this messy world, the best we can do is stay calm, help our friends, and have some fun. Accept the chaos. Prepare for the worst and hope you'll make it out okay. Laugh at yourself when it all goes wrong, because the joy is in the journey. So, those were my 3 lessons at UVA. Use them or don't, because after this weekend, you're the only one who can assign your own homework. Now, for our class video, a 4-minute compilation of footage you submitted for our time here. I'll see you at the class party tonight, 9 p.m. to midnight in Alumni Hall. Congratulations, class of 2023, and wahoo!
I saw a photograph from 10 years back. It's you and I were standing in the rain. Somewhere outside Atlanta, and I think my 12-seat band is right there out of frame. This was before I knew my way around Los Angeles, before I ever cared about a nice neighborhood. Driving through the night, sleeping on hotel floors, thinking that we had it good.
You did, and how much are we going to add to your score?
We were kids back then, thinking we could live together. We were kids back then. We were wild and free, taking on the world together. We were kids back then. That's how we're always gonna be. Friend on my timeline, who had lately been on my mind. We were close as close. in 20 years I will look back and say, we were kids back then, thinking we could live together. We were kids back then. We're so young and free, taking on the world together. We were kids back then. That's how we're always gonna be. We were kids back then, thinking we could live together. We were kids back then. We were wild and free, taking on the world together. We were kids back then. That's how we're always gonna be.
I'm so glad I go to UVA, not Louisville. I'm so glad I go to UVA.
Now, before we officially conclude valedictory exercises, please stand and join us for the good old song.